Hello and welcome back to the weekend edition of our 24-hour updates. I am Captain Doug Hunter, and actually I'm reporting a relatively quiet weekend this weekend with deputies handling a number of minor type calls as well as serving a number of arrest warrants. So far, knock on wood, it's been quiet and we're hoping it'll stay that way. But Sheriff Hutchinson gave me a call yesterday and stated that the Mid-Ohio Mopar Club had donated $500 to be used towards the purchase of a taser unit. We're in need of several of those, and that's going to go about half the distance of buying one. They're about $1,000 a piece, so we're thankful to the Mid-Ohio Mopar Club for that generous donation. Now, over the past several days, we've received several calls. I've received some messages on Facebook asking about open carry of firearms. I'm sure this is spurred by some of the ISIS threats that are taking place throughout the country and the incident that took place in California. And it's interesting to me that in 2004, the Ohio carry and concealed license for handguns went into effect, and almost immediately there began an interest in open carry. Whereas concealed carry had just became legal, people started inquiring as to whether they could carry openly. And in fact, in Ohio, that has more or less always been the law. I've been a deputy for about 35 years, and all throughout my career, it has been legal to openly carry a firearm in public places. Now, why do I say public places? Well, the problem is, while carrying the firearm in a public place is legal, it can be and is a violation of law to get into a motor vehicle with a loaded handgun if you do not have the carry concealed license. So the person that is legal while walking down the road with a handgun strapped to their hip, or a rifle for that matter, if they do not have a license for a concealed handgun, they are committing a violation of law when they get into a car with that handgun loaded. So as you can see, while it's legal to carry openly in a public place, you have to get to that public place, and you're probably going to be getting to that public place in a vehicle. So in order to stay out of trouble, you would have to unload the firearm, secure it in the car, travel to your public place, wherever that's going to be, take it out, load it, and then continue down the road. Probably not a real practical way to do it. And again, that only applies to people that do not have a carry concealed license. The people that have a carry concealed license, they can carry the gun concealed in a motor vehicle, they can carry the gun concealed if they're walking down the roadway, and they can carry the gun openly in either of those situations. But the person that chooses not to get the training and get the license, they're severely hampered. They're legal, like I said, in an open place, but if they get into a car loaded, it's a problem. Likewise, if you're thinking about it from a practical standpoint, if you're in a situation and you're visibly armed, you could very well be the first target of an attack. If a terrorist type person comes in and decides to shoot up the store where you're at, you could be the first target if you're the one that's visibly armed. Now, the other end of the argument is, well, if you're armed, the person may not commit such a crime. And that could be a valid argument as well. My advice to people is, if you're going to be armed, and I actually encourage people to do so within the law, I would rather be armed with the gun concealed and have that element of surprise in my favor. But that's your decision. The other thing to think about is, while the open carry applies to public property, it does not apply to private property, where the owner of a store, for example, could say, hey, I see that you're carrying a gun, I do not want you in here. At that point, you're going to have to leave the store, or you'd be violating the trespass law. So I'd much rather have armed people in the stores where I'm shopping that have their guns concealed than create a ruckus with a bunch of open carry where the store prohibits all types of carry. So that's just something to think about. Like I said, we get a lot of questions, and most of these questions have came about after the Ohio concealed carry law went into effect. So I hope that clears up some of the questions as far as open carry. I'm not an attorney, I'm a law enforcement officer. There's lots of people giving legal advice on the internet, so just be a little bit cautious of who you take advice from. And if you have legal questions, my suggestion is to reach out to an attorney and get a legal opinion so that you know exactly what the law is. So until next time, stay safe.